You're listening to the Coffee Before You Talk to Me podcast, hosted by Bean Mug and Coffee Co.
Welcome to the Coffee Before You Talk to Me podcast, hosted by Bean Mug and Coffee Co. I'm Jose, along with my good friend Tom. Tom, who do we have with us today?
Oh, Jose, good to be back again. And today we have our friend Jessica from Anna Bananas Bakery in Manahawkin, where everything is delicious. Good to have you here today, Jessica.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
So we've known Jess for a couple years now, and she has a really cool bakery down. It's on East Bay Ave in Manahawkin. All sorts of treats and pastries and cakes and delicious snacks. So glad to have you on the show. Yeah. And
yeah, I mean, I think we actually stumbled on the bakery one day. We were down there, just kind of, what did we go to look at? Did we go to look at somebody else's store down there? And we just kind of wandered into the bakery and
started asking questions.
And started asking you weird questions, right? She was all freaked out by us.
No, it was honestly my wife stumbled upon the bakery first.
Oh, okay.
And then we went to the bakery, and then I stumbled upon this corner lot, and I said, "Hey, wait a second."
Okay, that's
and then
right.
I was like, "Hey, by the way, let me go ask her what's going on." And then from there, we kind of just stopped. We never stopped asking questions.
Fair enough. We never stopped asking
We were
questions.
almost neighbors.
Almost. It was close there for a minute.
So basically, I guess my first question to you is what we ask all our guests when they come on the show, and what gets you up in the morning?
So my alarm goes off usually between 4:30 and 5 a.m. every morning. Everyone's like, bakery, you get up and run to the bakery and start baking. I'm like, no, I actually go to the gym first every single day. So that's what I look forward to. That's like kind of my therapy. Get away from everything for a second. Do my workout. Sometimes I'm answering emails and doing inventory at the same time. But as long as I'm there every single morning. And then I just get to look forward to going and making cakes, which, I mean, I guess a lot of people don't get to say that they do. So that is exciting. I mean, I think to myself, I'm like, oh, I make cake for a living, plus a million other things. But at the end of the day, like, I'm driving there, I'm like, I get to make cake and muffins, and that's my job. Like, this is
cool.
Great, you know? This is what I've been looking forward to for a while. So
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And I mean, obviously you do way more than make cake and muffins. You're running a whole business and the bakery and stuff, but we make coffee, you make cakes.
Yeah.
So that's like the core of it, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, you're thinking about it like, this is my job. Like, I can't believe this is what I'm doing. Like, this is how I make a living now. So
that's
pretty
awesome.
exciting.
And we'll get into the whole story, right? But I just want to put what's interesting is that it's funny because everybody else, for the most part, it's like either like, you know, nature gets them up or whatever motivation gets them up. The beach gets them up.
God.
She's like, listen, I make cakes. I sell pastries. I go to the gym.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, it's two opposites.
I
But they
skipped
work
that part.
very
I go right to the bakery.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I don't know about you guys. I mean, I definitely don't go to the gym every day. But if I worked in a bakery, I think I'd have to.
Yeah.
It'd be big troubles if I was in a bakery around cakes and cupcakes and cookies and all kinds of good stuff every day.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start here. Like, I guess your story behind your decision to like start the bakery and like what inspired you to get into cooking and baking.
Okay. So since I was growing up, I loved baking. Just point blank. I loved making cookies and cakes for everyone. So I went to Stockton and I graduated with business management degree. And I didn't really know what I was going to do after that. My mom's super creative on that side. And then my stepdad, he owned his own business for multiple years. So I kind of got like the whole business side from him. So I graduated and then I just got a job in the corporate world at a hotel. Worked my way up to the sales manager at that hotel. I was working Monday to Friday there, and it was almost 3 years in, and then COVID hit. So like everyone else, they fired everyone except for me. So,
It sounds like a good and a bad problem all at once.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I knew like everything about the hotel, so they kind of just kept me there because I could work everything. And at that point in time, I was just going crazy there. I was like, I can't believe I'm sitting at a desk. It's been 3 years. So I actually got a job at a bakery on the weekends. So I was working the Monday to Friday. And then I got a job at a bakery Saturday, Sunday, kind of like learning the actual business and everything. So come December of 2020, I quit that job and I had no idea what I was going to do. So started applying places, called the bakery up and I was, you need me to work extra hours? I'm all good. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells me, nah, the bakery's done. I'm leaving. It's gone. I'm like, oh, great. All right. So then next thing I know, I was calling the landlord. I basically got my own bakery space. 2 days after I put my 2 weeks in, I was buying bakery equipment. So I was all over the place, collecting this, collecting that.
And it wasn't the same space that was leaving. It was complete different space.
Yeah, everything that was in that space was gone, and I basically went and bought everything on my own, brought it in.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's kind of how it all started. But
I would say that's like called taking a hard left.
yeah,
You know what I mean? From working in a hotel and the hospitality industry, and then just being gone and running a bakery. I mean, it's awesome, especially in the short amount of time, like how much it's grown for you. But I mean, that's kind of like a whirlwind decision.
Yeah, it's definitely the complete opposite of what I was doing, sitting at a desk, staring at a clock. I was like, 11:59, I get to eat lunch in 1 minute. And now it's like, I'll be lucky if I get a granola bar
now
stuff
you
down
never
my
get to
throat.
eat lunch.
Yeah.
No such thing.
Yeah, complete opposite. But that's kind of how it all came together. I had business plans written up from college. I had probably about 10 different business plans, 4 of them, which were for bakeries in different areas. I had every single person in Ocean County, all of the bakeries in my business plan already ready to go. Just like what they made, how much they charged for everything. I had like mock-up schedules. I had how much would this be? How much do I need for this? How much do I need for that?
Now, is that like coincidence that your college business plan assignment, essentially, I guess it was, right?
Yeah.
Involved bakeries, or was that because you always in your mind somewhere wanted to have a bakery?
It was either bakery or ice cream shop.
Okay.
Yep. I'm glad I went with bakery because cake now I'm around it too much. Ice cream, I'll eat it all the time. I'd be really upset if I was around ice cream all the time.
I would. If it's not coffee, it's ice cream for me for sure.
We could do both at the same time.
I'm definitely simultaneously I could do both.
Yeah.
Avocado.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right, that's crazy. I didn't know that. I knew some of it, but I didn't know that's how you pivoted like really right into it.
Yeah.
So now that you kind of went all in overnight, I guess my question is, what were some of the initial challenges you faced when you had to start that bakery, and now it's like all that planning that you did and subconsciously and really planned it.
Yeah.
And then it's day one. Now what?
Yeah. I mean, then it became real life because my savings, I was a waitress and I would work like 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts. Like my friends didn't see me for the summer.
Right.
I just saved all my money knowing that I was going to open up a bakery 10 years down the road, So immediately, like, I'm just buying all this stuff. I'm like buying $1,000 mixers and $1,000 worth of ovens and all that. So you're like kind of like praying, like, oh, I hope this all works out. So that was definitely a challenge going from like getting your paycheck written out to you week after week, and then next thing you know, you're
spending money and you're not making any at the same time. It's scary, but
yeah.
I mean, on some level, right? Like you were all in from the get go, so it had to work. Not only did you not have the other job anymore, but you just blew, like you said, you blew through all your savings.
Yeah.
So you had no choice but to make it work, which sometimes is the way it has to be.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
It's super interesting.
Yeah. That was initially, and my biggest challenge, which still stands to this day, is staffing. I am like, I want to do everything myself, and in the bakery world, like it's really hard for me to understand. Like I can't. Like I don't have a million hands, and I literally need hands. Like you're scooping thousands of cookies at a time. So that is a struggle, finding people to rely on and not, doing it all myself, if that makes sense. Like I have to rely on people. I have to find people.
How many people do you have on staff now? you think?
Right now, I have 3 that are basically 5 days a week, but that's for off season. During the summer, I had an additional 3 staff members. They all go back to school, so they're kind of weekenders right now. And then if you count my mom, she's
there all the time.
Mom's
all the
always
time.
there, yeah.
She's all the time.
Even though she has a full-time job. Yeah.
Now, how many of those staff members are like bakers or?
They all know how to bake. Actually, I'm really
wow.
lucky. Yeah. So
That's
most
awesome.
most bakeries, they have like their staff in the kitchen, the bakers, and then they have their front counter staff. We're way more like close knit, as in like everyone helps out everywhere. So they do have their specific jobs. The couple girls work in the front all the time, couple girls work in the back. But if they ever need help, like flip flopping, if the phone's ringing, like the girls in the back will answer it. If there's someone in the front and they're too busy, the girls in the back will come up. Same thing. Like they need help scooping muffins.
Like, hey, run this mixer for a minute. They know what to do.
Yeah, it's
That's
great.
cool.
So I'm really lucky that everyone's like so well versed right now. 'Cause a lot of places like you don't have that.
I would think, especially like in that world. I mean, I could, you need me to ring up a sale. I got you.
Yeah.
But I can't bake anything.
That's it. That's as far as the cross training goes.
That's it. You know
That's
what I
it.
mean? I might be able to tell you like which things in the counter on the stuff, the display you want to eat because it tastes good.
Well,
Ask
the
me
thing,
how
like,
they got made.
I could tell you if it tastes well or not.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, you didn't do this right. I'm not telling you how to fix it. I just know it's not right.
100%.
Yeah. But the one girl has been with me almost since I've started. So she's great. I love her. Like a little sister to me now. And then all of my other staff have almost been there. I've only been open a year and a half, over a year. So
It's only been
I'm
a year
lucky.
and a half?
2
2 years?
2.5 years.
2.5?
Yeah.
Wow. It seems like I just feel like when we met you, it was so much longer ago.
Yeah.
But I guess, I mean, our business started right before yours. So
Yeah.
it's.
So what month did you open in
It was
Manahawkin?
March of 2021. So we're still in that whole COVID era, like mid-COVID. They had masks on when we did the grand opening and everything. So it was crazy. And then we went right into St. Patrick's Day and Easter, which is the busiest bakery holiday
Is it
ever.
really? Easter?
It is every year.
Huh.
No one thinks of it.
Put that on
I
your
wouldn't
bingo
think so.
cards.
Yeah. Who knew?
Yeah.
Immaculate
It is.
grid.
Insanely busy Easter.
What's like the biggest seller on Easter that makes it so busy? Or
Well,
just
the
everything?
thing is Thanksgiving, you're doing pie. So
Right.
either you're getting a pie from the bakery or you're making a pie at home with your family because it's a tradition and grandma, whoever, makes the best pumpkin pie. Same thing, Christmas cookies.
Yeah.
Everyone makes their own Christmas cookies.
That's fair.
Not that we're
Okay.
not busy at those times and we're
Well,
slammed, but
I get it,
Easter,
yeah.
the traditions aren't as, I guess, strong, you would say,
Yeah.
as they are
I
around.
buy all of that.
And isn't there like bread that people put Easter eggs
They
in?
get Easter bread, yeah.
Right? Is it with the big egg in it? Right?
Yeah,
that's
it's,
weird.
it's just not good. I don't
Yeah, it's
understand
not
it.
either.
I make
You don't
it.
have
It's
you don't have
just-
to understand it.
I've never had it. I just always
It's
never
literally
seen it.
bread, and then you put hard-boiled eggs in it.
I think there's like something hidden in it too.
Really?
I feel like I've seen this. Like we're like that's the tradition. of
Oh,
it.
I
Like,
think you're thinking of that St. Joseph.
yeah, I think that's the same thing though, isn't it?
I don't know.
St. Joseph's like a pastry, and then you
Uh-huh.
put cannoli cream or custard, and then that gets whipped cream and the cherry on top.
You
That's
hide a
Easter
little
time.
statue in it?
Also, I mean, I personally don't. I guess you could if you.
Yeah, that's a thing. I'll have to look that
Yeah,
up.
we're gonna have to fact check.
Yeah.
this
But,
one, there's
Let me
definitely,
know. We'll
it's
start
definitely a
hiding statues in our.
Yeah.
thing.
So
Make sure
Could
give
you
people a
imagine?
disclaimer.
no, that's interesting. But I think going back to the tradition part of it, you know, like you're right though. Like a lot of Christmas cookie traditions and things like that.
Yeah.
But your cookies are going to be like, you know, you're doing like custom cookies, and they're going to be like different ornaments or different gifts, and there's
Yeah.
a set of 12, and they're all different patterns and stuff like that. And also, I think what's interesting is that like as far as like things that are trending in like the bakery world, like you're right on the cusp of all of it. Like those custom cookies, I feel like are super popular now.
Yeah.
Like I feel like nobody was getting custom cookies 5 years ago, and I
No.
feel like everybody is getting custom cookies on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, custom cookies and what's the other thing? Cake pops. Do people still do cake
My
pops?
God, yes. I don't do them though.
Yeah.
Good.
Nobody order cake pops.
Don't order cake pops.
They are miserable.
Also, don't try to make them yourself.
I actually make
Or-
almost everything at the bakery except for cake pops. Yeah. I will do anything that you want, but besides a cake pop.
Okay.
So I only asked about cake pops, and I know how hard they are. My wife tried to make them.
Mhm.
I think my daughter's like first birthday. So
Was she like crying at the table?
this is like 9 years ago. She wasn't
Cake
happy.
everywhere.
But of course, to pat myself on the back, I
Mhm.
came to the rescue. I don't know how or what I did, but somehow I figured out how to make it stay in a ball on the stick and not fall off.
You're
I
hired.
don't know what I no. But I
I
got
made
really
sure to
lucky.
compliment those cake pops. They looked really cool.
Yeah,
I remember them.
those probably weren't the ones because we bought the.
I've seen some that like. No, I think she was doing something, and I was like,
after
"These
that
are really."
fiasco, we started hiring someone to make the cake
Yeah.
pops. Yeah, we
That's
got
great.
somebody to make the cake pops.
So then, so also like, now you're in the bakery. Your launch, your day one. You're staffed for the most part.
Mhm.
How do you build a brand and like separate yourself from other bakeries? Like, what'd you use to like carve out your path?
So I found that around our area, it was mostly old school bakeries, more so pastries and chocolate and vanilla cupcakes. So what I did was kind of take those desserts and put a twist on them. So you go into a bakery, you get a chocolate chip cookie. Okay. You go into a bakery, you get a 7-layer rainbow cookie. Okay.
Those are my favorite. Sorry.
Yeah, they are good. So what I do is that, like, I put things like that together. Like I put a 7-layer rainbow cookie inside of a chocolate chip cookie. We call them stuffed cookies. You've probably seen. I think I brought you some. Yeah. So it's basically like taking old school desserts and putting a twist on them. So it's still like the same old dessert that you have, but it's 10 times better. I mean, why wouldn't you want your 7-layer rainbow cookie stuffed inside of a chocolate chip cookie?
Yeah. No, I totally get it.
And sometimes I do have like people that come and do you have the 7-layer cookies? I'm like, yeah, I do. They're right over there. But I also have them stuffed inside a chocolate chip cookie. 9 out of 10 times they're gonna buy the one that's stuffed inside of a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
I mean, it just sounds amazing.
It is.
It's super appealing.
Yeah. I mean, cupcake flavors, we have at least 8 to 10 rotating flavors every single week. They're all different, crazy flavors, not just chocolate and vanilla.
And the donuts too.
Donuts.
That's a real thing too.
Yeah.
You have donuts too?
On Saturdays, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know about the
It's like
donuts.
a big deal around Manahawkin.
Yeah.
Well, there's like some donut places down. I mean, donuts are like a big deal everywhere
They
now. I
are.
feel
Yeah,
like,
these
right?
donuts are, but these are like normal sized donuts, not like the
Like
small donuts
yeah,
you see that
yeah,
are like
nobody wants the small
boutique donuts. Like
Yeah.
these are like,
Yeah.
hey, listen, this is our
It's like a real donut. It's like
Yeah.
the size donut you get in a bakery.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I feel like
Oh.
that's like one of the things. Like you always like you get a nice donut in a bakery, but
Yeah.
like I don't know. I feel like sometimes they're not fresh. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously not at your place. But you know, some stuff like that happening. You can't have that old and crusty.
So I guess my other question is like, so you worked at a bakery on the weekends for a little bit of time, and now you go all in on this bakery. But like, where did baking start? Like where and then from there, like where do you find inspiration to all these different creative ways to reinvent, traditional pastries?
Yeah. So literally since I was younger, I would just be baking. And then as I got older, I would take orders from family and friends and,
Gotcha.
charge but not charge. And I just like making the things for people. Like I like gifting. I don't buy things for myself. I'd rather buy things for other people. So I feel like when I'm like making a cake or cupcakes for someone and I like watching everyone eating them, like it's nice to see. And I'm like the type of person, like I put the cake out and then they're like, oh my God, the cake's so good. The cake's, I'm like, don't focus on me. Focus on the person whose birthday it is. Like that's
cool.
how I am.
Got it.
So I guess that's kind of how it all started. That was a 2-part question. Right?
Yeah,
What
and
was
then
the
like
second
also
part?
like where do you draw inspiration and stuff like that? Like,
Oh.
are you like scouring TikTok and saying like we could do that?
That TikTok, Pinterest. I mean, I'll just be driving in my
Pinterest.
car and it just like hits me. Like I'll be like, I got to do this week. Like I got to do this. Things that are happening like in the area, or I see something like on Facebook. It doesn't even have to do with baking or anything. Like your wife was selling cookies for your Girl Scout cookies for your daughter. That's a great idea. We're gonna make all of our cupcakes Girl Scout cookie flavored.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was wild.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So-
I like that. Do you have Thin Mint ones?
Yes, we
Oh,
we
man.
baked like the Thin Mint in the chocolate cake, and then we did like the mint frosting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was intense. That was a
Yeah.
real thing. So
Wow.
But
wait
even
till
like
Girl
there's a
Scout cookies.
carnival in the area. We do all carnival themed cupcakes.
That's cool because that's like a cool way like for you to connect with the community and
Yeah.
everything too.
Well, I was gonna say it's almost like pop culture, but
Yeah.
on the more local,
Yeah.
like a local aspect.
Yeah,
of it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then, as far as like, I mean, like marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much fun is that? I know we spoke a little bit before we started about
Yeah.
that, but aside from like, like the, reels and like creating
Mhm.
everything, but like, how did you market in the beginning and get your name out and things like that?
To be honest, it was all social media. It's the easiest way, not easiest way. We just talked about it wasn't easy, but it
Most
is
effective.
the most
Most
effective
effective.
way to reach the most amount of
Yep.
people with the least amount of expense.
Mhm.
I mean, you can go on Facebook and you like, all right, I feel like marketing to weddings this week. I can go on an LBI brides page and post on there. I immediately am hitting tons of girls that are going to get married on LBI. There's a Statford parents group. So when I have an event going on or this is fun for kids, post in there. Aside from that, so obviously a bakery, like holidays, we're super busy around every holiday, but then you have those lulls. So like
Yeah.
October or September mostly. September's a little bit slower. Not necessarily. I mean, I've been busy since I started, but there's no holidays. There's nothing going on. So we create things like Harry Potter week. So
Oh, that's cool.
every
like
September,
creating like themed.
things. Yeah. So every September we do Harry Potter week, and it's insane. It's as busy as like a Christmas weekend.
We know somebody who does like Harry Potter events with their company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly over at Pink Anchor, and it is wildly popular, and
yeah.
they are dedicated. Like,
Yeah.
It's like one of the cult classics, right? Like that's what they call those old movies.
cult
like, from the
following. I
80s,
don't know
right?
what
Cult
it is.
following.
It is wild though.
I don't know.
I've never
anything
watched
about
a Harry Potter movie in my life.
Neither have I. So I don't know anything about
Really?
it. But I
Yeah.
know people are
In it.
like people that love it. Like they're in
Oh,
it. So I can
yeah.
imagine. But it's also cool. Like for you guys, like when you do stuff like it's just mom comes in on a Sunday to buy pastries or whatever. Harry Potter week's the next week. So just
Mhm.
bringing the kids back.
Yeah.
Then the next month you have a theme week.
Yeah.
Bring the kids back. It's a great way to ensure that people come back.
Yeah.
Probably outside of their regular schedule. Because I feel like a lot of people are like regular bakery shoppers,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, there
they
is.
pick up pastries on a Sunday morning
Mm-hmm.
and that's what they do. But that's a cool way to get them in
Yeah.
at other times too.
That's awesome.
So we just create events during lulls, I guess you can say. But like again, it's all Facebook really.
That's awesome.
I did the flyer thing a couple times, but I feel like the majority of my audience is all
Yeah.
online.
And then like obviously word of mouth
Word
too,
of
right?
mouth. Yeah, that's huge. Oh,
It's crazy how like it's survived the test of time.
It really has.
But word of
Yeah.
mouth is still, in my opinion, I'm sure there's facts on it too, but it's still like probably like 300%
because
better than everything else.
because you trust the source. That's
Mhm.
why, right? So all right, so I got something on the word of mouth front, right? Because I'm just curious about this, and it's something that's been bothering me. And it's considering we're talking Facebook and
Here we
Facebook
go.
groups and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
No, it's the thing, right? So I need someone to do something, and I don't know that person. I don't have a connection. Like, all right, last year we had a deck built by the pool. So where'd I get the deck guy? In the local Facebook group. 6 people recommended the same guy. So I was like, okay, that sounds pretty good. Let me call this guy and have him come out. So now they got this anonymous post in the Facebook group. Have you seen this?
Oh yeah.
Can I trust that source anymore? I feel like you've now taken the validity of your comment or question away.
Yeah.
I know that's not really necessarily relevant to exactly what we're talking about, but we're talking about that's like the modern day word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
So now you comment, but you don't want to tell me where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You might be the person that's you're recommending your business anonymously.
Oh,
so
you're
crazy.
talking like digital word of mouth.
Digital word of
Yeah.
mouth, because I mean
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like I probably do that where I look for a suggestion in that form more than Jose does.
Yeah.
But partially because like I don't really have like family in this area. I didn't grow up where I live.
Mhm.
So my connections aren't as deep. So you look to the people in your community, right?
Mhm.
But now the people in your community are kind of like faceless again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. I don't know.
I don't like that.
It's just been, bothering
So
me.
I find the anonymous poster to
Yeah.
be somebody in a group that's like criticizing or critiquing, or
Oh.
like in our pages and down in the 609, it's really going to be like I'm gonna post this about this restaurant. And I just want this to be done before I like.
Yeah.
I like they post a disclaimer about what they're gonna do, and then they write this like 6-paragraph food blog report,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then it's anonymous, and then nobody's critiquing about the place or the experience. They
They're
all
just
just
saying,
want to say
why are
like,
you anonymous?
why are you anonymous?
Yeah.
Why are you anonymous? Like that's what we do over here.
Yeah, I mean that happens here
So,
too.
so
Though
I'm out. Like I'm out. I'm like
Yeah.
I don't need this in my
But-
life. I'm
so
out.
I'm also like in another like Facebook group that isn't local, but it's about like a group of people that have a specific product. People are anonymous in that too, so it's everywhere, and I don't get it. Zuck, we got to handle this.
Yeah, we got
Right?
and maybe like it's a default setting that people are
I
doing.
don't think
I
so.
don't know. I
I'm
mean,
pretty
listen,
sure you have to say you want to be anonymous.
I just find it hard to
don't-
believe that like these people barely know how to use Facebook, but they know how to make themselves anonymous. Like
Yeah.
I'm getting disconnected
Yeah,
by
all
how
right.
like difficult it is to navigate Facebook.
I'm sorry, I'm getting us off track.
But yeah, it's interesting. But
word of
back
mouth.
but back to it,
Yeah,
word of mouth
I know.
is still a big thing. It's still huge. It's still impactful. It still has a ton of weight.
I feel like especially, in the community that the bakery is in, like that close to LBI area.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that before on the podcast. It's like a very like tight knit community of people still where you don't have that everywhere. So I
Yeah.
would think in that area, it's even more important.
It is. I mean, every day someone's posting, where should I get this? Where should I get that? Like,
Oh, it's wild.
yeah. I get tags a lot of times. I like, where should I get a cake? And it's like tag. And I'm like, do I tag myself? I feel wrong.
No,
I don't want to comment
you
my
don't have
own
to. But you have somebody
name.
to tag for you.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because like let's say there's 4 or 5 bakeries or pastry shops,
Mhm.
and it's still the 4 or 5 getting tagged. Like
Mhm.
it's not like one's getting tagged over another. Like
Yeah.
they're overwhelmingly like equal. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like as long as you're in the conversation, that's got to be what
imagine,
matters. And what
imagine
counts.
being the one that's not in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a little self-reflecting on why they're not.
But I mean, it is though. Like you like people are like, I need a cake, or it's this. My family's coming over this weekend. Where can I get pastries? And it's
Yeah.
like 75 comments, and
Mhm.
30 of them are just
Mhm.
tags, and like,
And they start arguing sometimes.
oh yeah, like
Oh, that's the best.
it's wild.
I love watching it. I don't engage though.
I don't have a lot of patience for that stuff, so I just kind of I'll tag somebody and I just leave.
My patience only wears thin when it like I have to be involved in the situation
Mhm.
for whatever reason. But if
No.
I just see it and I'm just watching, I find it so entertaining.
No, I don't.
Are there I have a question about like just like the landscape of where the bakery is. Like
Uh-huh.
are there a lot of bakeries in the area?
In Manahawkin, there's one other bakery. But it's more traditional.
Okay.
Like I said, other than that, you have to go on to LBI.
Yeah. I just feel like I don't know if like it's like dying breed is like the right word because I don't think that's it. I just think it's like you don't see a lot of people like in your scenario that are like new bakeries,
Yeah.
right? Like I actually just saw on Instagram another bakery that I was like, oh, that it I saw it yesterday and it's in a different area.
Mhm.
But it's kind of like I guess like newer age, but it's been around for 11 years, they said.
Yeah.
So it's not new either. Like, and I was thinking about like where are there bakeries around
Mm.
me, and I think I go to the next town over to find a bakery.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It
there's some more
definitely is.
bakeries.
I feel it is as though it's like a dying
Yeah.
kind of
I mean, I guess like
shop. I mean, people come in, they like get so nostalgic. They're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, a
which
bakery.
is great though.
Yeah.
You know, you just
Well, it's because of all the big box.
well, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
ShopRite, Costco, you could buy everything there
Yeah.
too.
Dare I say Dunkin' Donuts?
Oh wow.
But like, I mean, realistically, like 10 years ago, that's where you're going. Like, I mean, like you don't do it now because there's like other places, and like obviously, like my mentality is a little different. Obviously, when I was younger, but
Yeah.
I mean, you try to support like local businesses, small businesses, things like that.
Mhm.
And where were you getting like your cakes and pastries at? ShopRite,
yeah, I guess.
and it's crazy.
I don't know.
They don't let anybody eat, those guys.
No, definitely not.
They don't.
taking it from everybody.
So, so question now is like we're up to, current time at this point, and obviously there's a ton of like supply chain issues and inventory issues and things like that. Are those things you were facing in your bakery as well?
Oh yeah, it's insane. I mean, prices have gone up everywhere, and it's like eggs. You go to the grocery store, you're buying eggs. I mean, I don't know what you guys were paying for them, but I buy them in bulk, so I buy 30 dozen eggs at a
Oh my
time.
god.
I wasn't buying that many.
No.
He has a lot of chickens. But when I opened, 30 dozen eggs was $35. a couple months ago, that whole egg thing happened.
Yeah.
$185. So you do the math on
All
that.
right, let's say that again for those that so that you don't have to stop the podcast and rewind it. It was $35 for
Yeah. So when I first opened 2.5 years ago, it was $35 for 30 dozen eggs. And then a couple months ago when the prices went up, it was $185 for the same 30 dozen eggs.
So that is 5 times
Yeah.
You did the
the
math
cost.
quick,
I did
right?
the math.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, not in my head.
5. That's fine. 5 times
5 times.
the amount
Yeah.
for eggs,
And
and
that's
that's just one.
just-
And that's just one ingredient.
That's just one ingredient.
Every single ingredient that I use, because I have a whole spreadsheet, has gone up.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Well, the cost of flour has been like going up for years,
Yeah.
even before COVID, right? Like I remember hearing that like years ago, like pizza places had to increase their price because the cost of flour was.
Is that what
going
it
up.
was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's every ingredient.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then you go, all right, all the time invested into making these to put a price on the product at the end of the day and then
Yeah.
sell them is tough.
Yeah. I mean, and it was eggs and cream cheese were the big ones, like big times, however much. But every single ingredient was up. And if it wasn't up by like times 2 or 3, which was the trend with most of them, it was up by at least a couple dollars. Like there was nothing that
They didn't leave nothing
stayed
off.
the same.
They were like everything's going up.
Yeah.
Even the
That's
stuff
wild.
nobody ordered to like,
yeah.
they're like
just raise it all.
raise it all. Like, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And then like, and even like your, I guess like, I don't know if you have like plates or supplies or things like that. Like that's going up too,
yeah.
right? Like all
Boxes.
that, like all the
yeah.
other stuff, right? That you would need.
And mind
Paperware, I
you,
guess you would call it.
Like besides the fact that all the prices were up, it was if you could even get it.
Yeah.
I would drive all the way up to Restaurant Depot because if I ordered it through my distributor and I needed eggs and they come on Thursday and they don't show up with eggs, I just don't have eggs. So I'm like, well, at least let me drive up to Restaurant Depot and see if I can get it there. And I would be like on a hunt there, like on a mission. I'm going through Restaurant Depot. You get all the way to the back to the refrigerator section. You walk in and the whole egg section's just gone. Besides that, if you could get the eggs, it was times 5 the price.
Oh my
so
God.
it was miserable. I'm like, I own a bakery and I don't even
Yeah.
have access to eggs. What am I supposed to do? So it was like, it was a rough time. It's
That's
getting better
crazy.
now.
I was gonna say, is it starting to like subside a little bit?
It is, yeah. It's a little bit better, but I mean, once you raise the prices, you realize that you're
They're
getting $185 for eggs.
They're
You're gonna
staying.
lower-
Yeah. No one's lowering their prices. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe a little
So,
bit.
yeah.
But
They brought it down a little, but
I remember that happened with chicken wings at one point too.
Yeah.
Like maybe like a year or so ago, the
Yeah.
price of chicken wings went through the roof, and everybody was complaining about how much chicken wings cost. And I'm sure the price came down a little bit, but I'm sure it wasn't what it was before there was a shortage because
Yeah.
people were still buying them. They're like, what are you going to do? You have to buy
That's
it.
crazy. I'm
It's like-
still stuck on the egg thing.
It's like gas though, right? Like every time the price of gas goes up, we all complain about the price of gas, and it's different. It's a commodity, I guess, so it fluctuates.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter how high the price of gas goes. Everyone's still going to fill their gas tank.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter how high the price of eggs go. You still got to buy the eggs.
Yeah.
People still need
You know?
eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
And then also like, I guess this question is like, was there a specific moment from opening the bakery till today that was kind of like a breakthrough moment, or like something where you were like, we're gonna really do this thing?
Yeah. So when I opened the bakery, you guys were there. You saw the size of the space. And then 6 months later, I literally, like, my breakthrough was like, I literally broke through a wall and I doubled the size of the bakery. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, geez, what did I do? So, I mean, double the space, double the rent, double the electricity, double everything, double your staffing most likely because you have all this space now. You're going to be producing more.
Yeah.
So at that moment, I was like, all right, I guess like we're in now. Like we're in
Yeah.
2 full units. We're remodeling this entire thing again. 6 months in. So yeah, I was like, all right, I guess like we're doing this again. like that's
Yeah.
it.
So what really was like the motivator to break down the wall and go bigger?
Oh,
Just-
my kitchen was so small.
That's what I thought.
So I first started, we didn't do cakes or cupcakes for the first couple months. Actually, we weren't allowed to. We had someone else there in the same building doing them. So I had 3 months where I actually owned a bakery with zero intention of ever making a cake or a cupcake.
Now, did you think like, did you know that other person was going to go away at some
No,
point?
I had no idea.
Oh, wow. So it was like really just like pastries and
Yeah,
cookies?
I was like, I'll come up with something. I'll do cookie cakes. I'll do this. I'll do that. I've
Oh.
trillion other ideas. And then we got the news that we were allowed to do cakes and cupcakes. And the kitchen, you have the oven here, and you have my table here to decorate cakes. And it's like every time you open the oven, and it was just heat on cake. So I was
Got
like,
it.
yeah, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
We just definitely needed more space. We were like on top of each other in the kitchen, storage wise. It was just unorganized, which drives me nuts. So yeah, it was needed. We definitely needed to break through
Awesome.
the wall.
Yeah, no, it's a really good size now, and I think it's really shoppable now, where people come in and like really can like walk the store and you know kind of add things to what they were going to buy and stuff like that. So
definitely
a little more practical too with the size.
Yeah.
So you started off with, I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I go to the gym and then I'm at the bakery. And I don't know if I've ever been there where you weren't there. I've seen you multiple times go, elbow deep in cake and saying like, I got to go to a wedding in 3 hours. It's an hour and a half north of here. And like, or you got to like, dip out, but you're always at the bakery.
Yeah.
So my question is like, what do you find, how do you find like the work-life balance?
Yeah. I find like the simple things now, like me going home, like walking my dogs and putting my phone away. I'm like, all right, like just an hour, that's all I need. Just to kind of like not look at anything. That's really the only option I have. Other than that is like social things like birthday parties and whatever. Like I try to go to anything that I can now, because if you don't, and it's like I'm exhausted by the end of the day. Like the last thing I want to do is sit at this table and eat pizza and have cake with everyone after working 12 hours and making cake and answering emails and this and that. So I've been very conscious. The first year, I was awful at it. I worked every single day. And then when I wasn't at work, I was doing work. But the second year, I kind of leaned off, and now I'm in like my 2.5 year. So this past summer, especially, I've definitely been focusing on taking a day off to just do like my laundry and like my life, like not be so involved in everything.
It takes time too, like just to figure out how to do it, and how like, all right, well, you can't work 7 days a week doing that job forever. So at some point it's got to change. So it's like, all right, you're in it for a year. All right, now I can do this. Now I can do that, and start to figure out like where you can get those, family times or alone time or whatever it is worked into a crazy work week too. Yeah. Are you guys like bake? Like, do you have to like bake like through the night? Like, how does that work?
So we actually, a lot of like when you get to that certain point, like I have gotten to the point where I do have to have someone come in earlier some days, like 5 a.m. just to get the day started. Right. But we actually bake throughout the entire day. So like when you're coming in and you're getting like your pie, it's usually hot because it just came out of the oven, at like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Whereas like you have people come in overnight. Like, sure, I can switch your shift to overnight, but then they're making the pie, and then by the time you're getting there,
it's already 12 hours
already
old,
cool.
right?
That's not fun. Like you want it to be burning hot when you touch it.
That's cool.
So yeah, everyone works a pretty normal schedule. Sometimes we have to go in earlier. But we are not really like a morning crowd bakery. Saturdays is a little bit of a different scenario.
Because of the donuts.
Yeah, because you got to get the donuts.
But your stuff is like also, it's like so much more specialty than like your run of the mill bakery too.
Yeah.
So like I could see why like it's more, I'm going to come there and I'm going to buy all this stuff because I'm having a party or I'm having some type of an event, as opposed to like, I'm just going to pick up my pastry on my way to work.
Yeah.
Like that. It's different.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
So people who are listening, like Manahawkin obviously is like a beach town. So your hours obviously are extended in the summer, right? And then you have reduced hours in the off season.
Yes.
Are you closed any days during the week?
During the summer, we did 7 days a week, and then we were at farmers market on Mondays, and then we do events throughout the summer. starting this Monday will be the start to closing on Mondays. So we'll be closed Mondays until next summer, like third week in June. We usually go back to 7 days.
And that's
a
got to
week.
help too with like the reset,
Oh, yeah.
recharge.
Definitely.
Even
Yeah.
if
Right?
even if it
Because
even-
it's forcing you to take time off. Sorry to cut you off.
Mhm.
But it's
Yeah,
just
no,
forcing you
it's
to
true.
take time off.
and even if it's like, you know, in your position where you're baking, you're decorating, you're coming up with all these creative things, but you're still running the business. Even if it's, hey, the bakery is closed and I got to do my other work today,
Yeah.
it's probably a relief even just from that perspective.
Yeah.
So basically, you're closed Mondays from like Labor Day
Until like
right
mid-June.
after Memorial. Yeah,
right when the
once
kids get out of school.
because that's when it gets really busy down by you, right?
Yeah.
So I worked retail for a long portion in like, you know, my early years. And I remember there was like a mindset you have when you start getting up to like, for me, it was probably when September hits, because you kind of go into this like back to school. It was clothing.
Mhm.
So you kind of go into this back to school rush, and then that kind of builds up. And in October, you're literally just planning the whole month for Black Friday. And then Black Friday happens, and then you go right into this like ridiculous season after that. And I feel like there's like a mindset you have that like can get you ready. So I think in your situation, it's almost like once the winter comes down and like you start getting into like March, you're like, it's coming. Because
Yeah.
once the summer opens and you go 7 days a week and you're a beach town, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like that mentality to
Yeah.
get ready because the summer's here.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get to exhale a little bit after this weekend, right?
I'd like to say yes, but absolutely not.
No, yeah.
I mean, you have all those holidays, like, you know,
Yeah,
like peppered
it's
in,
tough.
like all throughout
Yeah.
that like off season that you have.
I'm-
You're still like Easter doesn't happen until, you know, well, it changes every year, but
Yeah.
Like
it's
April.
before you open. It's before you go back to 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
like,
I
all
mean,
those
like
holidays.
this weekend alone, the custom cakes are insane. Like I haven't seen it like this in a little while because it was summertime, so everyone's like barbecuing, grab what I can, let's get cupcakes, this,
I didn't
that.
think
But
of that.
it's like my whole order wall is just covered for all of September,
Wow,
basically.
that's great.
Yeah.
Why do you say I didn't even think of that though? Like
Yeah.
that's crazy because like and then, again we go back to like word of mouth
Mhm.
because once you start making those custom cakes and
Mhm.
here we go, like now it's like that doesn't have any season.
Yeah,
That's like a birthday
baby
party.
showers,
Yeah,
bridal
anything, it doesn't
showers,
matter. Yeah, exactly.
baptism, gender reveals.
Everything.
Like people celebrate everything.
How do you feel about gender reveal cakes? Like, is it weird knowing before anybody else knows?
I just don't look at them in the face when they come in. I'm like, I'm not gonna look
I
at
feel
you.
like-
I am so bad at keeping
They
secrets.
usually send in like a representative to get the cake.
I
right?
don't know
Like-
how it works.
No,
Yeah, I
like
never
they'll
did
pick it up
that.
themselves sometimes. Yeah.
They like hand you an envelope from the doctor,
Mhm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and then I'm like, oh, Jesus.
feel like that's weird.
I'm like, I gotta
I
read
know.
this right. Sometimes it's like, it's a girl, but sometimes it's like gives me these letters, and I'm like, oh,
no.
no.
That's a lot of pressure. I don't want
yeah,
that. I don't,
it's too much
I don't
pressure.
need that.
I couldn't deal with that
Yeah.
pressure either. I remember when my daughter was born, me and my wife were like the people like from the get go. We knew we had to know the sex of the baby as soon as we could.
Mhm.
So we were like, all right, we're gonna do the gender reveal just for our parents. Like our parents are gonna come over. My wife was gonna make the cake herself because we were gonna find out right away.
Mhm.
And I was like all nervous all week. I remember like, oh man, like we're gonna find out. This is crazy. Like how are we gonna do this?
Really?
Yeah, like because
Wow.
just to like not because you're doing a whole big thing wrapped around it, right? Like even if it's just for your family and it's
Yeah.
not like you gotta what if the cake doesn't come out right that she's making? Ultimately we couldn't do it anyway because we couldn't find out. The doctor couldn't see.
So, okay, so we had for when Olivia was born, we did a cake like that, and my only thing I focused on, and she's gonna hear this when she's older, I'm sure. The only thing I focused on was because in my mind I knew I was having a girl. Like
Okay.
I didn't even cross my mind. Like I was like, just gonna have a girl.
Okay.
Gonna have a girl.
Mhm.
I gotta make sure my reaction's on point.
Okay.
I gotta make sure I'm not like upset,
Yeah, yeah.
disappointed, angry.
Yeah.
I just focus on making sure I look thrilled.
Yeah.
So, you know, is what it is. But I was like, and sure enough, cut the cake. It was a girl. Everyone went nuts. You could hear Nilsa screaming like, you know,
I was me and my
Right.
wife were both positive we were having a boy.
okay.
Like no doubt about it. Like this is definitely a boy. Why did we feel that way? I don't know. Literally to the point where like we had to do it for like a 3D sonogram to find out if it was a boy or a girl, where we both had blue shirts on, but like not on purpose. We didn't plan it, and it was like subconscious. And then we found out we were having a girl, and I'm really glad no one was there to document my reaction. It was, it was good. It wasn't bad.
No, that's
I'll be honest. Like I cried like a baby, like for like 20 minutes in the car afterwards. Like it was wild. So but there's no documentation, so that's
of
good.
course, it's okay though. That's all part of it.
It's
so
awesome. Moral of the story: I wouldn't want that pressure.
Yeah, no, I'm a terrible liar.
Yeah,
I mean, I just can't look at them. Like I'll make the cake, I'll be fine. I'm good. I know that there's not gonna be pink or blue showing through. Like, but when it comes to like dropping off, I'm like. Even like I have people
else
like
pick it up, right?
I have people order like their wife's cake and then they'll come in the next day with their wife and I know that I'm like, oh God, just don't say anything. Just don't like it's a surprise party. I'm like,
that's tough.
You told the wrong person.
Oh man,
terrible liar, not good at keeping secrets.
Oh no, I'm really good at keeping secrets.
You're good. Yeah, you're a good secret guy.
Like you tell me whatever you need to tell me off the camera. Like I won't tell nobody.
Jose's got a good poker face.
So I guess before we I'm gonna start wrapping it up soon, but like before we get to the last question, what type of advice would you give young people that want to have a bakery? I know cottage laws are different now, so they don't need a bakery. I know that's to their advantage now, but. Yeah. What advice would you give people that are like, hey, listen, I think I want to bake cakes for a living?
I mean, everyone says like just do it, but you have to have a lot of backup behind that before you just do it. Like you have to go in with a game plan. I've had this plan forever. I mean, I had my time hop pulled up 8 years ago. I had like a mock-up logo and a bananas. I had the name and a logo picked out already 8 years ago. I feel like that's why I am so successful now. And the bakery is so successful because I had a game plan. I make it sound like, I just went for it, like quit my 9 to 5.
I mean,
but
to some degree you did.
I did,
The pulling of the trigger, you just went for it. But you obviously had a big plan.
Yeah. So I think definitely need to have just like a game plan.
Yeah.
Just go for it, but don't just go for it. Like you gotta.
I mean, like it was
more calculated than just quitting and moving in and doing that.
And it should be. I mean, you listen. Like you're not. If you were like, hey, I'm going to quit my 9 to 5 and make cakes out of my house. Like, all right, you could probably wing that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you didn't do that. You were like renting space from the get go and buying equipment and having to have staff. Like. That's a big undertaking to just wing it.
Yeah. I mean, besides the fact that it's like mentally and emotionally exhausting, like physically, it's painful. Like you go home in pain. I mean, we're making 100 pounds of cheesecake at a time and you're picking that picking that bowl up, and then it's like not even like, are you picking that up? Then you're putting it in the oven with a water bath and you're pulling out hot water bath full of cheesecake. I mean, you have at least 20 pounds of cheesecake on there. Yeah, try not to burn yourself. And then you go home and you got cheesecake in your hair. I just pulled the wad of cake mix out of my hair. And I was like, oh my God, this is gross. But I love it.
That's awesome. Well, that's what makes you do it every day.
Yeah.
You love it.
I wasn't going to get to the last question, but now that you reminded me of something I wanted to ask earlier.
I think I know what it is.
So you said that even 8 years ago you had a logo and a name.
Yeah.
So obviously we introduced the show. We're like, hey, we got Jessica from Anna Banana.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody at home is going like, man, like, why is the bakery named Anna Bananas? So how did that happen?
So my middle name is Anne, which came from my grandma's name. And that was kind of like my childhood nickname. So like I sat around 8 years ago and I'm like, what am I going to name my business? Like, it's not going to be Jessica's this. Like, that's so boring. It's not going to be something generic. And then, like, it just hit me. And I was like, Anna Bananas. And I got called crazy by, like, a lot of people. Like, I called I think it was the distributor for, like, flour and eggs and everything. And they're like, all right, what's the name of the bakery? And most of the distributors I work with are old Italian men, like, going back to old school bakery and everything. I tell him Anna Bananas. He goes, psh, you're going to fail with that name. I was like, oh.
They really said that?
Yeah.
Just outright, you're going to fail with that name.
Yeah, because you're talking to all these people that have, like, whatever they call it, calandrias and ponderelli. Like, that's all the bakery names.
And those are, like, family names, though, probably, right? Like, so it's like everybody. But you think about it, like, I'm thinking about bakeries that I know around here, and it's like, the last name, the
Yeah.
first name, like that's it.
Yeah, and then you got
And you didn't instantly respond and be like, no, that's my family's name, Anna Banana. I'm sorry, like I can't help you here,
Yeah.
but like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
100% are the odds.
Yeah, so I mean, I came with Anna Bananas, and people love it because you have all these people that were named Ann or Anna or Hannah Banana, and like we sell T-shirts and mugs, and they're like, "Oh my God, Anna Bananas, I love it!" And then you got the bananas tied into that. So we have like I painted bananas on the wall, and that's kind of like our background logo.
Now, do you have like a banana cake that's like the featured Anna banana cake?
Not cake, but we do banana bread, and then what sells the most is the Chunky Monkey banana bread, which is walnuts and chocolate chips
Ooh.
in banana bread. Yeah.
Man,
Um.
I'm glad this is by my house.
Yeah, but everyone loves the name. I mean,
Yeah.
the staff, they call themselves the Bananas. So
That's cool.
I mean, I don't regret it at all.
No, yeah,
It's
no,
a
no,
great
it's
name.
great. I
think
hope you
it's
called
catchy.
that guy at the distributor up and said, "Ha, I'm
Find a
still here."
distributor.
Yeah,
Like, listen.
that's crazy. I just can't imagine like being on that phone call with somebody
Yeah.
going, like essentially like he's trying to get your business.
Yeah.
You're just starting, and he's
Yeah.
going,
He's
"You're
like,
not gonna make it." 'cause
Well,
of your name.
this is your first and last order. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
jerk.
but I mean, I've dealt with that since I've opened. I mean, look how young I am, young little
Yeah.
blonde girl. They're like, "Where's the owner?" I'm like, right, like they'll come in for like a fundraiser or something. I need to speak to the owner. I'm like, "Yep," and then
Oh,
they're like,
yeah, that's
"Where is
great.
she?" I'm like, "Right here."
That's great.
Yeah, so I love it. I mean, at first it was like kind of iffy, and I was like, and then I'm like, now I'm like stepped in my shoes. I know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. I'm
Yeah.
2.5 years in. I'm like, yeah, I'm the owner.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
that's great though.
Yeah.
It's tough though. The name thing is hard.
It is.
Like especially like I get it when people like name their business like after you're the family, it's whatever,
Mhm.
Bob's Tires, but like it's tough. Like we had that. Bean Muggin isn't exactly like relevant to any of the three of us that own the company. It's just something that kind of was conjured.
Mhm.
You know,
Also, it's not a name that you tell people and they're like,
it's a coffee shop.
yeah, like it doesn't mean any, like for people, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like people still look at it and go, what?
Yeah,
or
all
like
the time. But I
either get or you don't,
yeah,
which I'm
Yeah.
okay with, which
I
we
mean-
knew going in, and I'm still okay with that.
There's a plenty of people that are like Bean Muggin, Mean Muggin. That's awesome. That's cool. Like they get it.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people that don't, but I think like just like Anna Banana, like they might not get it,
Yeah.
right? People might not get it, but they're not going to forget the name.
No.
Like
Yeah.
I think that's the thing, you
Yeah.
know, like it doesn't look like the place down the road. It doesn't sound like the place down the road.
Yeah.
They're not forgetting that.
It takes but there's like a little bit of courage it takes to do something like that,
Yeah.
because you're
Yeah.
gambling, you're going in on this name and you're building off it.
Mhm.
And listen, like, you want to start a business in 2023, good luck finding a name because all of them are taken.
Oh my God.
I mean that like
Yeah.
I mean that like figuratively and literally,
Yeah.
because you have to find it on Instagram, you have to find it on all your socials,
Mhm.
you have to make sure nobody has it.
Mhm.
You want them all to match.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which is like nearly impossible.
so it's like good luck. So you have to
Yeah.
find it, like it has to be a perfect fit. And
Yeah.
I guess what it's almost like, well, nobody started a Bean Mug and Coffee Co. Is that because it was a bad name? I'm sure someone had to think of it. But then you're like, well, we have the courage to do it. I think we can. And it's very like Jersey Shore-ish with that attitude. So kind of fits.
Yeah.
So, no, so and then I guess Jersey Shore, right? Tie in here. What is your favorite Jersey Shore memory?
So I lived up north in Edison, so we actually vacationed in either Seaside or Wildwood every year, which is like wild to me now because I literally like live here. And I tell my fiance, he's like, "You want on vacation to Seaside?" I'm like, "Yeah, every single summer." Like that's what we did.
Yeah.
But the boardwalk, we just would walk up and down the boardwalk all the time. And then I always had to find the Coors ice cream stand
Yeah.
with the mint ice cream. Oh, so
Not the
good.
vanilla and orange
No,
swirl one.
no, I like the
Oh,
mint
I
one.
like the swirl.
Yeah, me too.
I'm kind of similar.
But I'll try the
area.
mint
Yeah.
one. Like
Always used to go to Wildwood.
if a baker tells me to try the mint ice cream at Coors, I'm doing it.
in.
Like
But they're hard to find. The mint one is very difficult. You have to walk. You got to find the right stand because
So they don't have it at every Coors stand?
no.
oh, that's maybe why I never tried it.
Yeah,
Probably.
it's
Because
hard.
I would be
to
like
find.
going to the first one I saw and ending my
No.
search.
Oh man, summer's
Yeah.
almost over too. Like this is tough.
I drive my fiance crazy because
Trying to
it's
find it.
never the first or second one in Seaside. Usually like third, fourth.
There's that many in
Yeah.
Seaside?
Yeah, they're all lined up
Oh, man.
crossing.
Okay. All right. Well,
Well,
you listen.
my
Find the
defense, I
mint.
haven't
The
been
mint
Find the
ice
mint.
cream, and not the flavor twist one. It's got to be the straight mint one. Comes right out of the thing. The
Soft
flavor
serve?
twist. Yep,
Okay.
Just mint.
mint.
Not
Nope,
mint chocolate
there's no
chip.
That's the best part. Nope, no
I like the
chips.
chip.
You like the chip?
I
you
like
said?
I like mint chocolate chip.
I do. No, listen. I'm
I
a
like
huge
crunchy
Mint,
things in ice cream. I don't know.
I'm a huge fan of mint chocolate chip, but I will try the mint ice
Yeah.
cream. I'm doing it.
I'm in.
You're gonna tell me twice.
What if they road trip?
Yeah, right.
So where can people find you on social media and stuff like that?
So Instagram, Facebook, website. They're all Anna Bananas Bakery NJ, like New Jersey. I post every single day on Instagram, videos, all the cakes we do. And then you can go on our website. You can fill out a cake inquiry form. Right there, it'll tell you exactly what we need to know. But yeah, I'm always posting. So Instagram, Facebook, website.
All
That's
right.
it.
Awesome.
Well, it's been great having you on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.
All
First
right.
podcast.
All right. So long.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Coffee Before You Talk to Me. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Bean Muggin Coffee Code and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Until next time, keep that coffee hot. And please, coffee before you talk to me.